On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served.
Months before the murder, he had told children on the bus, 16-year-old, 15-year-olds, that he was tired of his father telling him what to do, and he was going to kill his father.
The jury sentenced the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment.
Some kids throw tantrums. Others throw punches. But certain ones threw their entire families under, literally. One claimed she killed her mom to save the world. Another kid wiped out his entire family for inheritance money. At that age, most of us were saving for Pokemon cards. He was plotting murders. And then there's the girl caught on camera ending her own mother's life. What's worse? Some of these cold-blooded crimes were committed before these kids even hit high school.
And that's not easy to say, but the truth of the matter is sometimes evil comes in young packages.
So stick around and let's look at these evil kids who murdered their own parents. Robert L. Lindsay. He killed his own mother and pissed off the judge during the sentencing.
This court saw the greatest acting I have ever witnessed since I've been a judge. You're professional. You're a professional actor.
Robert L. Lindsay IV was 19 and still in high school when he did the unthinkable. He killed his own mother. It happened on February 20, 2013, inside their townhome. His mom, LaTonya Banner, confronted him about some text messages she found on his phone. What started as an argument turned into a deadly fight in his bedroom. In the chaos, Lindsay grabbed a knife and stabbed his mother 7 times, one stab hitting her lung and killing her. During the sentencing, his aunt spoke about the pain his actions brought to the family.
You are a murderer in every sense of the word. The knife that you used to slaughter her continues to pierce our family.
Lindsay tried to defend himself by saying it was self-defense and claiming his mother had been abusive.
Do it because I wanted to, because I wanted to inflict a death. I didn't try to kill her. It was a total accident.
But the judge wasn't buying it and called his testimony a brilliant performance.
This court saw the greatest acting I have ever witnessed since I've been a judge. You're professional. You're a professional actor.
A jury found him guilty of murder. He was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 15 years. Like Lindsay, the next kid is just as evil. At 15, she received a life sentence for killing her own mother. Carly Madison Gregg. On March 19, 2024, in Brandon, Mississippi, 14-year-old Carly Madison Gregg shot and killed her mother, 40-year-old Ashley Smiley, in her bedroom using a .357 Magnum revolver. She fired 3 fatal shots. Afterward, Carly texted her stepfather, Heath Smiley, from her mother's phone, asking when he'd be home. Then she invited a friend over, showed her the body, and said she had more bullets ready for her stepfather. When Heath got home, Carly shot him in the shoulder. But Heath managed to take the gun away and call 911. Carly was arrested and charged with 3 serious crimes. First-degree murder for killing her mother. Attempted murder for trying to kill her stepfather and tampering with evidence for trying to cover up what she did. She was tried as an adult and faced up to 2 life sentences. During the trial, Carly's defense said she was going through a mental health crisis. A psychiatrist explained that she had bipolar II disorder, depression, and anxiety. Her journal and sketches were filled with dark, violent thoughts, showing she might have been struggling with aggression and instability. But the prosecution argued that Carly wasn't insane during the crime. They pointed out that she denied hearing voices, had no history of violence, and acted deliberately after the shootings. The way she texted her stepfather, invited her friend over, and tried to cover things up proved she knew what she was doing was wrong. On September 20, 2024, the jury found Carly guilty of all charges. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 10 years for tampering with evidence, to be served at the same time.
The jury sentenced the defendant, Carly Madison Gregg, to life imprisonment.
Carly Gregg is evil, and that's not easy to say, but the truth of the matter is sometimes evil comes in young packages.
Just like Carly Gregg, the next kid was brutal. She joined forces with her boyfriend to kill her father, Sierra Halseth. In April 2021, 16-year-old Sierra Halseth and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Aaron Guerrero, were arrested for killing Sierra's father, Daniel Halseth. Their parents didn't approve of their relationship and wanted them to break up. But instead of listening, they made a terrible plan: run away together after killing Daniel. On April 9, 2021, Daniel's body was found in his garage in Las Vegas. He had been brutally beaten, burned, and stabbed 70 times, mostly in his head, neck, and torso. Some of the stab wounds were so deep they pierced his lungs. Before anyone found the body, Daniel's family tried calling him. When they couldn't reach him, they asked Sierra. She lied and said he was fine. Sierra and Aaron took off, planning to head to Los Angeles. But police caught them in Salt Lake City after they bought train tickets. They were charged with murder, conspiracy, arson, robbery, and using a stolen credit card. Prosecutors said the couple killed Daniel with a knife and then set fire to the house. Both Sierra and Aaron admitted to murder and arson. They were each sentenced to 22 years to life in prison with the possibility of parole.
On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served.
The next kid took evil to the next level. At 16, he killed his whole family for money.
Why would I jeopardize? You put money into it. I have a very large, or had to have whatever, inheritance coming to me, regardless if there's insurance money involved.
Nicholas Browning. It happened on February 1, 2008, just before his 16th birthday. Nicholas Browning came home late at night and shot his entire family while they slept. The victims were his father, John, his mother, Tamara, and his 2 younger brothers, Gregory and Benjamin. A week later, Nicholas confessed to the murders. He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, denied bail, and sentenced to life in prison, 4 life terms. He's still locked up in a Maryland prison. His family, including his grandfather, tried to get his sentence reduced, claiming Nicholas had been abused. Nicholas also said his father abused him. But prosecutors painted a different picture. Nicholas killed them because he didn't want anyone controlling him and wanted his inheritance.
Before the murder, he had told children on the bus, 16-year-old, 15-year-olds, that he was tired of his father telling him what to do, and he was going to kill his father, and he was going to kill his brother so he didn't have to share the inheritance.
The case was later featured on the show Killer Kids in an episode called Spoiled, Rotten, and Bad Dream. The next kid was delusional. According to the voices in her head, she stabbed her own mother 79 times to save the world. Isabella Guzman. In 2013, 18-year-old Isabella Guzman did something unthinkable. She killed her mother, Yun Mi-Hoy. Mi-Hoy just returned home from work, ready to unwind. She went upstairs to shower, unaware that her life was about to end in the most horrific way. Moments later, her husband heard crashing sounds, followed by blood-curdling screams. He raced upstairs. But the bathroom door was locked. Blood seeped from underneath. Desperate, he dialed 911. When he looked back, the door was open. And there she was. Isabella Guzman stood in the doorway, a bloody knife in her hands, eyes locked in some twisted trance. Behind her lay Yun Mi-Hoy's body, covered in stab wounds. Investigators would later count at least 79 wounds. Guzman fled the scene. They found her the next day in a parking garage nearby. During the trial, things got even stranger. Forensic psychologists discovered that Isabella suffered from schizophrenia. Her mind was a distorted funhouse mirror, convincing her she wasn't killing her mother but someone else. Someone evil. Someone that, according to her delusions, had to die to save the world. The court found her not guilty by reason of insanity. No prison. Instead, she was sent to a mental health facility in Pueblo, Colorado. She'd stay there until doctors decided she was no longer a danger to herself or others. Fast forward to November 2020. Guzman petitioned for release, telling CBS 4 that medication had brought her mind back to reality. She expressed remorse, even claiming she'd been abused by her family for years.
My mom was terrible, and I was injured in the process. I have the scars on my hands. I don't know if you can see or not. I'm not mentally ill anymore. I'm not a danger to myself or others. If I could change it, or if I could take it back, I would.
But the authorities weren't ready to take her word for it. Over a decade later, she's still in that facility, waiting for the day someone decides she's no longer a threat. The next kid was even younger than Guzman when he did the unthinkable. At 14, he killed his own great-grandmother.
I know I don't show my emotions much, and I myself am not sure why. But that doesn't mean I don't.
Antonio Barbo. It happened in 2012 in Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin. Antonio Barbo, then 13, and his 14-year-old friend, Nathan Pop, planned to rob Antonio's 78-year-old great-grandmother, Barbara Olson. They went to her house armed, Antonio with a hatchet and Nathan with a hammer. On September 17, Nathan's mom unknowingly drove them to Barbara's house. They snuck into her garage, but when Barbara spotted them, she kindly invited them inside. As soon as her back was turned, they attacked. They hit her over and over, Antonio with the hatchet, Nathan with the hammer. Barbara tried to protect herself, but the blows kept coming. Medical experts later counted at least 27 strikes, leaving deep, gruesome wounds all over her head, face, arms, and hands. After their horrifying crime, the boys tried to move Barbara's body but failed. They stole $155, some jewelry, and her car keys, then ditched her car at a bowling alley. 2 days later, Barbara's daughter found her lifeless body in the garage. The police caught Antonio and Nathan within 12 hours. Bloody clothes in Antonio's locker and stolen items at Nathan's house, Barbara's gold watch and purse, tied them to the crime. The two boys were charged as adults with first-degree murder. In early 2013, Antonio tried to claim insanity but later changed his plea to no contest, making him eligible for parole in 35 years. Nathan pleaded not guilty, but during his trial, Antonio testified against him, saying Nathan had used the hammer during the attack. Nathan admitted hitting Barbara but claimed he only did it out of fear Antonio would hurt him if he didn't. The judge called it the worst crime he had seen in 24 years. Both boys were sentenced to life in prison. Antonio can apply for parole when he turns 50. Nathan when he turns 45 in 2043. Barbara was really young when he killed his victim, but the next kid was even younger. He murdered his mother's boyfriend at 13. Kayshawn Mann. In January 2010, 13-year-old Kayshawn Mann was accused of killing his mom's boyfriend, Jermel Stokes, in Kentwood, Michigan. Before the shooting, Kayshawn showed a 9mm handgun to a friend and said he wanted to use it to kill Stokes because he was abusing his mother. On January 25, 2010, Kayshawn shot Stokes in the back of the head while Stokes was on his laptop, browsing Facebook. At first, Kayshawn lied to the police saying an intruder killed Stokes. But later he admitted to doing it himself. In June 2010, Kayshawn pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. He was sentenced to stay in a juvenile facility until he turned 21. During Kayshawn's sentencing, things got chaotic. Lakeisha said no one understood what her son had been through. A man in the audience got angry, started shouting at her, and then others jumped up, nearly starting a fight. Deputies had to step in to calm everyone down.
Couldn't help himself. I couldn't take it no more. I'm hurting bad enough as it is, and then not to express yourself when you hearing things that's not correct.
When I was trying to show a scene and disrespect the court or anything but I'm going through a lot too, and I was just being there for my sister and my nephew, so that's why I kind of reacted like the way I did.
Kayshawn was sent to Muskegon River Youth Home, a juvenile facility 110 miles from Grand Rapids, for 8 years. He'd stay there until he turned 21. If he behaved well, he could be released early. If not, he'd face more time, possibly being transferred to adult prison for at least 13.5 years or even life. By 2013, when Kayshawn was 16, the staff at the youth home said he was doing better than expected. He was working on his anger issues and emotional control, thanks to support from his mom and grandmother. His lawyer hoped Kayshawn could be moved to a less secure part of the facility. But the prosecutor said the plea deal required him to stay in secure housing. Despite everything, Kayshawn admitted he was sorry for what he did and was trying to learn from his mistakes. His lawyer believed he was on the right path to change. In December 2017, when Kayshawn turned 21, the judge decided to release him because he had made good progress and improved his behavior. When he was released, Kayshawn had already been taking online classes at Mid-Michigan Community College. He wanted to continue his education at Grand Rapids Community College. He also had a peaceful meeting with Stokes' father to work things out. The next kid, which is also the last one in this video, is the youngest of them all. At 8, he murdered 5 members of his family. Kyle Alwood. On April 6, 2019, Kyle Alwood lit a house fire that killed 5 of his family members. His 2 young half-siblings, his grandmother, his mom's fiancée, and his cousin. Kyle was only 9 when he was officially charged with their deaths. His mom, Katie, says Kyle isn't evil and that she forgives him.
Everyone is looking at him like he's some kind of monster, but that's not who he is. People make mistakes, and that's what this is. Yes, it was a horrible tragedy, but it's still not something to throw his life away over.
But his aunt disagrees. She believes he should face real punishment like going to juvenile detention or even prison.
Legal age to go to juvie. Then I think he should go to juvie. and then from juvie to prison. Because at the end of the day, whether he meant to or not, he knew what fire did.
Since Kyle is so young, he won't be sent to prison even if he's found guilty. Instead, he's looking at about 5 years of probation, which would end when he turns 21. People are torn about what happened. Some think Kyle's mom might have played a part in the fire. Others believe Kyle's mental health issues, schizophrenia, ADHD, and bipolar disorder, mean he deserves a second chance. The big question? What does justice look like when a child commits a terrible act?